Hello, my fellow creatures of the night. I am Baron Bones, and happy Halloween. I love this time of year, specifically because it gives me an excuse to honor one of the masters of the macabre, a true master of terror, Vincent Price. For those of you who don't know, I am a huge Vincent Price fan. So every Halloween, I review one of his horror movies. And today, we will take a look at the second film he did with William Castle, The Tingler. The Tingler, like I said, was directed by William Castle and written by Rob White. They had just finished A Hunt on Haunted Hill, and with the success of that film, it was very easy for Castle to get another Emergo film greenlit. For those of you who don't know or haven't seen my review on House on Haunted Hill, Emergo Vision is something that William Castle came up with to get the audience more involved in the horror movies that he was directing. This resulted in some interesting things. For House on Haunted Hill, it was a skeleton ziplining across the screen at a certain moment. For The Tingler, there were certain buzzers set to certain seats, and during a certain scene, they would go off, giving the audience quite a shock. It was one of three things that this film became infamously known for, the other two things being an early depiction of LSD, and during a scene where a deaf woman is being killed, she is frightened to death by blood appearing in the sink and tub, and that blood appearing in color in a black and white movie, which was just not something you saw every day in movies. That being said, the film did not do well with critics. At first, most critics at the time felt it was generic and didn't think it was anything special, and bombed the movie pretty hard. Ever since then, though, the film has garnished quite a cult following. So what do I think? Well, let's talk about it. For those of you who don't know what The Tingler is about, it follows a mortician, played by Vincent Price, who also is a scientist who specializes in the study of fear. And he has come to a hypothesis that there is something in every human being that grows as we feel terror and fright, but disappears whenever we release that fright through screaming. That thing comes to be known as an organism called the Tingler, which is, quite frankly, a really stupid name. Like, seriously, come up with any other name for the creature here, because every time I say the Tingler, I do have to use all my strength to prevent myself from laughing, because that is just, quite frankly, a dumb name. That being said, the overall film of The Tingler is a 1950s monster movie. You can either take that as a good thing, or take that as a bad thing. I like 1950s monster movies, and I relatively enjoy this one as a result. If you don't like 1950s monster movies, well, I got nothing here for you. Yeah, there are a couple cool and interesting things that this film does to set itself apart. The color scene that I mentioned earlier with the blood is one of those things, and I do like the design of the Tingler as a creature, but overall, the film's pacing and story followed the 1950 monster movie logic. And you're either going to like that or you're not going to like that. I really enjoy that cheesy monster movie feel in a lot of films. I think this film does execute those ideas quite well. Others who don't like this type of movie will come out hating it because, well, it's just not their type of film. This is a pretty straightforward, if you like 1950 monster movies, you'll like this one. If you like Vincent Price movies, you'll like this one. If you don't like 1950 monster movies or don't like Vincent Price movies, one, why did you click on this video? Two, well, yeah, this film just isn't for you. That being said, I do think it needs to be watched and appreciated by those who are fans of the genre if you haven't already seen it. It is quite extraordinary how certain things were executed, and Vincent Price is always a delight on screen, and here is no exception. And once again, this brings us to a close. I will give The Tingler a 6 out of 10. A truly enjoyable 1950s monster movie, though it doesn't really try to be anything more than that. But most importantly, it didn't have to be. I love Halloween, and I can't wait till next year to see what I come up with next. That being said, I'm not done with this show. Rex has decided to give me full control, as I have said earlier. So you'll be seeing me again. In the corner of your eyes. Whenever you hear a bump in the night. Whenever you feel the unsettling eyes of something watching you. A spine-tingling feeling. There you'll see me. The Master of Terror. Baron Bones. Waiting. So remember, my friends. Stay terrified.